I ain't taking your shit today, no. I ain't taking your shit tomorrow, no. We can do it my way, so I ain't sticking, no, I ain't sticking around, no. 'Cause you just wanna.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to High Value Men, High Quality Men. This show here is to fellowship with men, empower men to know our worth, to have a good conversation, to let women know what men need, what men deserve. So we're going to have a great conversation. We're going to move things along, and we're going to make sure we have a good time doing it. So I'll let you guys introduce yourself briefly. Again, I'm Archie. I will be the host of the show, and I'll pass it on to you, Darwin, and then we'll move from Darwin to Dave to Manuel to John.
What's up,
Have at it,
people?
Darwin.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you, Archie. Yeah, so my name's Darwin. I'm from Latin descent. My family's from Dominican Republic. I'm here in South Florida. Just here to partake in this conversation and hopefully drop some knowledge for some people so we can all get some equality.
Outstanding.
Yeah. My name's Dave. I'm just glad that Archie invited me to this platform so we can express ourselves as men to let women know what we want. I live in North Carolina. I'm originally from Philly. Go Eagles, go Birds, 76ers. I'm in North Carolina. Yeah. And I'm down North Carolina, own a couple businesses in North Carolina. Retired RPD, did some work overseas, and now I'm back in North Carolina, chilling, working, grinding, doing my thing.
That's what's up. All right, Manuel, we're going to throw it over to you. You got to unmute yourself, Manuel. Let me do it.
Sorry about that right there. I had myself on mute.
There we go.
Can you guys hear me right now?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Again, my name is Manuel, and again, I want to thank Archie for inviting me to this platform. This is something new to me, but I'm excited about it, and also I'm going to use this platform as well as a learning tool for myself, because I'm not going to say that I know everything. So it's going to be a learning tool for me as well. I'm a retired RPD officer as well, and also I'm currently an officer here in South Carolina, and I'm excited to be here.
Good stuff. All right, John, I'm going to throw it over to you, brother. All right, have at it. Let me make sure I got you unmuted. 1 second. Hey, John. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Oh, you, John. You can just tell a little bit about yourself, brother.
All right. I'm John. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I ran into Archie years back in the weight room. We at the gym working out, and this joker had on a Columbia shirt, a T-shirt, and I realized back then he was real. He was about that travel life and all that good stuff. He invited me to this platform. I want to learn and impart. I'm a construction manager. I got a coffee company in Medellin, Colombia, and I'm all about that crypto. The 3 C's.
That's what's up. All right, so we are getting ready to go ahead and jump into this right here, and hopefully, we're not saying we know it all, but we just are going to impart our wisdom, and hopefully somebody can pick something up from this. Nobody is perfect, but you don't have to be perfect. You just have to, get along and listen to each other so that we can have a harmonious time trying to find our mate out here. So the first question I have is dealing with submissiveness. So my question that I'm gonna throw out to John is, why do so many African American women, in particular, find the word submissive to be offensive, in a sense where they are feeling like men are trying to tell them that we want them barefoot and pregnant, and to essentially not have a voice? So why do you feel that African American women in particular find that word so offensive?
Wow.
For you, John.
Okay. Wow. That's a heavy subject. I don't know. I don't want to get too deep on it. However, that once upon a time in that Black community, families sent their sons to school, to college, to get an education, and they sent their daughters to college to get married. So during the course of time, the women's lib movement and all that crap, man, it just screwed up a whole lot of stuff. It screwed up a whole lot of stuff because I've spoken to educated moms and dads, and they sent their daughters to HBCUs to come home with a husband. That's all I have to say on it.
Okay. Well, we appreciate it, brother. So I'm going to toss it over to Darwin. Darwin, give me your take on why do you think, and maybe you haven't dated an African American woman, so I'll just say women in general. The women that you have came across, or maybe not the ones you have came across, maybe you've had a buddy that have shared parts of his relationship with you. Why do you think that women have a difficult time being submissive?
Well, I feel like I know women with the women's rights, women's movement, that kind of stuff, they just feel like they are equals, right? But what happens is when you get in that relationship, they're saying, I want to be empowered. I'm going to wear the pants in the house, right? It's like there's a saying in like in the Latin community, right? That I'm the man of the house.
D-May.
I'm wearing the pants in the house until she gets home. Then you wear that's why you wear the dress. So it's like that ain't right. Like a lot of Latins, like especially in Dominican Republic, men are raised to be macho. We're machistas, right? I remember as a kid, and I'm gonna circle back to the women part of it, but this is the mentality of a Latin man. Women are raised to be submissive, at least in the Latin community they are. I'm not sure how it is with other demographics, but I remember one particular time when I was a teenager, I was visiting my cousin, and I just saw that she was doing all the chores in the house, right? And I was like, damn, that sucks, man. We just had dinner. It was like 8 of us, whatever. So I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and help her with the dishes. Maybe I'll, help her dry it or whatever. My aunt came over to me. She's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, that's a woman's job. So now, how are we supposed to be, like, asking women to be submissive when it seems like they're making us become super macho, right? Super machistas. So it's like, yo no puedo ayudar a la mujer que yo quiero ayudar. It was just my cousin. I felt for her, and I was like, let me just do something to keep her happy, right? And I felt for her. So I don't know. It's kind of like you're getting mixed signals because as kids, you're raised, this is what's supposed to happen. Men are the breadwinners. Women are supposed to just be responsive to whatever the men want to do. Then we're raised in this culture. Now here we are in the 20th century. Things done changed, and now women are. You hear the word submissive. It's like we're ingrained to think that they're supposed to be, but we know that everybody wants to have that equal partnership. Now, I think today women just feel more empowered. They're more liberal to talk. We were like, we're like this close from having a woman president. So I don't know. I feel like women don't want to see themselves as submissive, but it just depends on the man, right? If you allow this to happen, or if you look, Archie dropped. I don't know what just happened there.
Yeah, I think he got a bad signal or something.
Man, I was just about to go on a rant here. I don't know, man. I was just getting warmed up. I'm just collecting the thoughts and trying to
Yeah.
put myself in that situation.
It look like it's still recording, so you can keep going.
All right. So
Yeah.
Archie will just circle back. Our moderator will come back. I just gotta drag it out a little bit. Yeah. So women hearing themselves don't see themselves as submissive. They want to say that, I'm just as strong as a man. I'm stronger than a man. I've been in different situations where I've heard of women where they're making more money than the men. And in that case, the man's supposed to be submissive. They just see that as they're just entitled, And what we got to do is just look at us as equal partners. And I don't know, I just feel like women want to know where they stand, and they want to stand firm in their beliefs. And I guess hearing that word submissive is kind of putting them back in the 19th century. Yeah.
See,
What do you think about that? Yeah.
Okay. Hablo, repite todo conversación en hablo español. Repite todo en español.
So, ¿por qué a una mujer no le gusta la palabra submisiva? Una mujer piensa que hoy en día, como estamos en esta época del 2022, que las mujeres están empoderadas. Ya hoy en día, ellos son igual que un hombre. Una mujer puede ser presidente, puede ser la gerente de una empresa, puede ser todo, tiene toda la habilidad, pero no quiere tener esa palabra como si fuera juzgado. Cuando ella está en una relación con un hombre, el hombre piensa que ella va a ser sumisiva a él, quizá ella se va a sentir como inferior y no le gusta ese lado. Pero los hombres no tienen la culpa porque, vamos a decir, en la época de antes, el hombre siempre que ganaba el dinero, él es el que le ponía el techo en la casa. Yo me recuerdo una historia cuando yo estaba adolescente, yo estaba en la casa de mi prima y después de cenar yo iba a ayudar a mi prima a lavar los platos. La tía mía me regañó por eso, dice que ese es un trabajo de la mujer. Nosotros los hombres nos crearon así, de esa manera. No es que tenemos esa mentalidad que tiene que ser sumisiva, es que es algo como que va de año en año, generación atrás de generación. Pero hoy en día, en esta época, la mujer puede ir a estudiar, hasta puede ganar más dinero que un hombre. Están buscando ser iguales.
Gracias. All right, man. Well, I'm going to toss it over to you. Just in your point of view, why do you think it's hard for African-American women in particular and we're not beating up on African-American women, and I'll get to why I'm specifying African-American women right now in just a moment. But in your experience, why do you think it's very hard for African-American women to submit to their partner when they're in a committed relationship?
I believe that African-American women, from being a girl turned into becoming a woman, has always had to play the role as far as being a strong woman, regardless of what that situation is. Therefore, when she gets into committed relationship or married, the situation may be, she is so used to being in that role that she can't get out of it. And if she does get out of that role, then she feels that she's being weak. She's just used to being that alpha person in that relationship, meaning that at home. So when she meets a man, an alpha male, basically, it's hard for her to step out of that role to be submissive. Is it possible for her to do so? Yes, but it's something in which that either she's going to have to want to do it. To do it, you can't go halfway in, halfway out. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. But also, you can't just say that it's the women, because there's a lot of men out there too that allows this to happen. There's a lot of men out there that will feel comfortable living with this woman, not doing anything, but yet she's the sole provider in the household. So by that being said, then she's going to be the alpha in the household, so she's not going to be that submissive woman in which that most men are looking for. And I believe that that's the issue that we have right now in the African American women culture, because it is a cultural thing. Like Darwin was saying, um, I don't know much about the Latino community, but by just seeing the Latino community, the Asian community, we seem to have that problem a lot here in the United States, and also dealing with the African American women.
Gotcha.
That's all I got to say on that.
Okay, and I'm gonna give you my take on it. Okay, appreciate it, man. So I'm gonna give you my take on it. Even if you go biblical with it, and that's where most women go when they hear that word submissive. They go biblical with it, and they think that men are looking for them to be barefoot pregnant, not have a voice in the relationship. They don't want to be told what to do. And so that's part of it. The other part of it is, and it's part of the man's fault too, in regards to not having a man in the home. So you got a lot of single Black women who are in the home raising these kids by themselves. And so they are the alpha in the relation. I mean, they are the alpha in their home. So they get so used to doing everything by themselves, doing everything on their own. So now you introduce a man into the situation, and now they have to give up that power. And it's very hard for them to give up that power. And I've had some women say, well, when the right man comes along, then I'll submit to him. I'm not going to submit to a man who ain't doing what he's supposed to do. I'm not going to submit to a man who ain't helping me with these bills or helping me raise these kids. I'm not going to submit to a man who ain't got his stuff in order, but they're in a relationship with him. So why would you enter into a relationship with that man? Yeah. Why would you enter into a relationship with that man, leave together and having kids with him, only to then say, I'm not going to submit to you because you ain't doing X, Y, Z. And so that's the problem that I had while dating African-American women in regards to submitting. And I used to tell them all the time, I was like, listen, I want you to have a voice. I want you to be yourself. I'm not trying to change you, but men need respect in their home. And if a woman does not submit to the man, and my definition of submitting to a man, because we didn't really cover what we feel like that word means. My definition of submitting is to have conversations with your mate, okay? Come to some sort of understanding. You have your voice, he has his voice, but in the hierarchy thing, the alpha makes the decision. And if, let's say, for example, a woman doesn't want to submit to the man because the man is blowing the finances, okay? He's making good money, but he's blowing the finances. So she won't submit to him because he ain't, according to what they like to say, he's not in order with God because of X, Y, Z. So, okay, well, in a relationship, whoever is the strongest in that situation should step up. So if I make all the money and I'm doing well bringing money in the house and you're more better in finances, then take the money and you run with it. So whoever's the dominant person in that relationship should step up. But to not submit when you're already living with the man, you already maybe had kids with the man, and you don't want to submit at that point, it's just causing trouble in the relationship. And that's just my take on it. Anybody else got anything to say before we move on to the next one?
You keep on talking about, you mentioned God a couple of times. Obviously, this isn't a religious show, right? This platform is just about men expressing themselves and kind of just seeing where our opinions of women. But just to add to that religious tidbit, in Genesis, section 1:2:7, right? It talks about God giving the husband the authority over his wife, right? They talk about, God created men and women in his image, right? And then there's also like another section of the Bible that talks about just the dynamics of the relationship, right? Where in I think it's Epiphanies, it's like section 523, the husband is the head of the wife, just as God is the head of the church and the savior of the body, right? So it's like, it's written in the Bible. Like, so this is ingrained in Christians in general, right? And maybe a lot of other religions. Like, you go to, like, you talk about the Muslims, or just, I don't know. I mean, there are places where, women just cover their faces. They can't even show their faces in public, right? And other places you can't kiss your husband in public. Like, you can't be alone with a man in your house unless that man is your husband. So, I mean, I don't know. It's ingrained in just human nature.
Well, I would say this.
I
I would say this. For women, do we really expect women to submit to every man, or do we expect them to submit to a high value man? And for them to find, especially in the African American community, I mean, how many high value men you gonna find the average African American woman is gonna find? You know, she's not gonna find too many high value African American men. And for her, for African American women, for them to submit, like you were saying, Archie, was that if he's not doing this, he's not doing that, they're not going to want to submit to him. And I don't blame him. If a man is not doing what he's supposed to do, if he's not taking care of the house, he's not handling business like he's supposed to, I don't think she should submit to him. And let's keep it real. If you look at the races in United States, where our background, where we come from, the African American men are probably the most victimized in this country, and as a result, the women are indirectly affected by the direct effect that African American men have in this country. So for African American women, when you mention being submissive and then being strong in the same, it's kind of contrary. And they have to be strong because a lot of our women are raising our men. They single mothers raising our men. The reality is, it's the truth. That's the reality. They raising our men. They single mothers in this country, either on their, by their part or on the part of the man. But the reality of it is, statistically, we have a lot of single mothers raising kids in this country. So they have to be strong. So when you say be submissive and then you got to be strong, it's kind of contrary to the African American woman. So, and I will say, from my experience, dealing with women, it's human nature that the female species want to be submissive. They don't want to be the masculine in a relationship. They want to be submissive in a relationship. And so it's contrary to what their nature is. So they're going against nature. So when women say, I believe them, when women say, if I find the right man that's handling his business, that's doing what he's supposed to do, I'll submit to him. But those men, the reality is, those men are far and few between in the African American community.
Preach.
And that's why I established to bring men and high quality men in one platform. I totally agree with you, but my thing is just this. You knew the man that you was getting before you moved in with him. You knew the man that you was getting before you got into that committed relationship. So if you knew this man wasn't what you want from a man, then why did you take it that far? Now, unless the man did a complete 360 on that woman and just totally changed, I don't understand why women would enter into a relationship with men that are like that. And John, I know you want to chime in on it, so I'm getting ready to toss it over to you real quick. Let you chime in.
All right. Okay, now, guys, consider this: that when you in relationship with women, they'll say that, hey, I'll submit to the right man and all that kind of stuff until they F it up with you and me, good men. And then what happened is they get the next guy that come along and they're making up for the poor relationship they had with a good man, so they submitting to a frog. You dig what I'm saying? And then the frog hurt them, and then they meet a good man, and they treat the good man like they should have treated the frog. It's a vicious cycle. It's
Right.
a vicious cycle. And you see great women with piece of crap guys, and you wondering how that happened. But at the same time, you know, we're part of their cycle of giving up, you know, giving in and you know, trusting that, hey, if they submit and they do this and they do that, it's going to eventually work out. But they're doing it to the wrong guy. You dig? And when they meet one of us, they got their fist balled up. They don't trust us as far as they can throw us, kind of thing. And hell, we move on. I don't have that much patience. You know, to me, a woman is like milk. You dig? Short shelf life. You know, short shelf life. That's it, bro. You can mute me.
All right, good stuff.
I like that.
All right,
I'm
good
going to
stuff, good
use
stuff.
that one.
All right, so we're going to move us on to the next subject, and this subject is pertaining to sex. And women, you know, Kevin Samuel said it best. He said that women make the decision on who to have sex with, and men make the decision on who to marry. So I find that a lot of women put too much emphasis on the money. Now, I totally agree. You have to have money. Women need security, and part of that security is financial security. So I get all of that.
Right.
But it seems like when you meet a woman, and this is the biggest turnoff for me, and when I throw it off at you guys, you can tell me if it's a turnoff to you. But the biggest turnoff to me is for a woman to treat me like an ATM machine. Okay, out the gate, don't really even know me, and expecting me to do these things for her, or it seems like they use their female anatomy as a down payment. So if they give you some, it seems like it's a down payment on what they either want then or what they want in the future. And it's kind of like that they expect you to start stepping in, paying bills. And here's my take on it. If I'm in a committed relationship with a woman and we're together, and either we're living together or we're not, but we're in a committed relationship, I'm gonna have that woman's back like I always have. I'm gonna make sure she is not struggling. But if we're in the getting to know you phase and it's just new, we maybe known each other a week, two, maybe even a month, why do women expect men to come in to pay their bills, you know, give them money on this, give them money on that, or take them on these shopping sprees? You know, they expect too much too soon. And it's like if they're giving you some, they expect women to say their parents taught them that way, the value of their female anatomy. I don't know where it comes from, but it's a huge turnoff to me. Any woman that comes out the gate, treat me like an ATM machine, she automatically doesn't get put in that category as a future wife. So I'm gonna toss it out to John to first to get your take on that, brother. Let me unmute you real quick. All right, there we go.
Yeah, that's an interesting subject right there. I haven't ran into that kind of action in a while, you know. But when I did, it was a huge turnoff, bro. Turnoff to see that, hey, here it is. You know, we in the fact finding phase of just getting to know each other. And first and foremost, choosing a location. Hell, I'm at Roof Chris. I'm dropping a whole lot of money on the meal. Then she want 2 drinks. And then after that, oh, she want to go dance. Now, that night cost me $400 just to hang out with her. And I'm like, this is untenable. I can't exist in this situation, and it feels bad. It feels like you being used, And from that moment, there ain't no. I don't think there is reconciliation. I'm the fool for continuing on, but at the same time, I feel you, Archie. There ain't no reconciliation when someone use you like an ATM. That's all I got on that.
No doubt. And I'm gonna come to one of you guys next, but I got to John just reminded me of something that happened to me. I met this woman. I met her in North Miami Beach, and this is why I never let women choose a restaurant anymore. I never do it anymore. So I let her choose a restaurant, and she chose this fancy restaurant in North Miami Beach. I said, okay, no problem. Because if you ain't got the money, you shouldn't invite women out to eat. So I went, and the name will come to me in a minute. Get to the restaurant, ordered some drinks. Her about five minutes into it, her sister walks in, and at the time I didn't know who she was, but her sister. So she invited her sister without even asking me to the restaurant. Okay. I hope you don't have a problem with this. I was like, yeah, I'm like, all right, it's all right, it's cool, whatever. So I'm not familiar with this restaurant. So the menu comes, they're looking at the menu, and I'm seeing that everything is kind of like a la carte. And it's like an Asian themed type restaurant. And they're going through ordering this, ordering that, and it was like, what do you want? I'm saying to myself, Jesus Christ, y'all some hungry chicks. I mean, they just ordering this, or we're gonna try a little sample of this, try a little sample of that, try a little sample of this. And I didn't really take a look at the prices. So fast forward, long story short, when that bill came, that bill was $535. $535. I was something hot, and I was getting ready to walk out and leave them with the bag. But I was trying to do the gentleman thing and not do that. That's a menage a trois bill. That was the last time. That was the last time that those girls ever heard from me.
That was the first date,
and I blocked them. And that was the first date. That was the first date, and that was the last time I ever allowed a woman to pick the restaurant.
Yo, that's a crazy ass story.
Yeah, it sounds like both of them need to come back to the room.
Holy shit, dude. Mine wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I remember I met a girl on a plane. I was like flying from Miami to New York. I was gonna go to spend the week in New York for my job.
My Wi-Fi is kind of up and down. So, all right, go ahead and continue, brother.
Yeah. So I was just saying that I met a girl on a plane. I was actually flying to New York. This was when I was working for Viacom. And so I was up for that week. I had happened to meet her on the plane. And then she's like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, yeah, I'm here for business, whatnot. So, well, we should get together, sometime after work, whatever. So we kicked it. Everything was good. And then later on, she's like, where are you staying? Oh, I'm staying at this hotel. And she's like, well, if you want, you can come to my place. You don't have to stay at a hotel. And I'm like, why? She's like, oh, I'll cook you breakfast, this and that. Fine, whatever. So went over there. We had a good night. The next day in the morning, she's actually making breakfast. And she kind of like put the bills like right there near the kitchen. And I'm like, why you have your mail over here like next to my food? Like, what's going on here? And she's like, oh, I just wondered if you could help me out with my rent. And I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. I was like, I didn't even know your address. And she actually asked me to help her pay her rent. I'm like, what the hell?
She done took it a step further.
I'm like, holy shit. I mean, I got dinner. I had breakfast, but yo, that was nuts. I was just shocked. I was like, huh? And I was like, I'll give you $100, whatever. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Here's $200. And she's like, oh, that's it? I'm like, I don't even fucking know your last name. I'm supposed to be paying your rent. I just met you. I couldn't believe the audacity. I'm like, yeah, fuck that. Lose my number.
Yeah. So where do you think this comes from? Like, I mean, where do you think that this comes from comes to women having all these expectations financially from men? Is it the P power that they was raised to be like, you don't give it up without getting something in return? I mean, what is it that makes a lot of these women do that? Manuel, I'm gonna toss it out to you, brother.
Yeah.
All right, Manuel, go ahead.
You're muted.
Yeah, you got him on mute.
All right. You can hear me?
Yes.
You just muted yourself again.
You can hear me?
All right, go ahead, Manuel.
Okay, yeah. So it's like a friend of mine that used to say back in Haiti that I used to work with. He said that a lot of women out here, they overvalue themselves, meaning that their stocks are high. And then us as men, we allow that to happen. You know, we allow for a woman to place higher value on themselves, and we do things for them without saying, hey, well, wait a minute. Now, if we're going out on a date together, a man is going to take you out on a date because of one thing. He likes you and he wants to he wants to go to bed with you. That's basically it in a nutshell. A woman, basically, they look at it like, well, I think I like him, but I'm going to go out with him a couple of times to see how things go. So for us to continue that to go on, then a woman is pricing themselves higher than what they really value. And it just has to stop. But see, us, we're not going to be able to do that right there. Everybody's just going to have to be on the same sheet of music. And until that happens, then a woman is going to always overvalue themselves.
Yeah, they just
Exactly.
sometimes they just feel
Exactly.
entitled.
I
I
agree with
deserve it. I deserve it. I deserve it.
Yep.
If you're not gonna give it to me, somebody else will. And they just hunt me.
And it will happen. I mean, you're right. And somebody will do it.
But I want to add to that.
You know what?
I think it's not the women only place a value on what men put on them. So you have a lot of these men, these beta males, that put these women on a pedestal and put them on a certain value. So it's not like the women just pull it out the air and say, "Oh, this is my value." It's the value that they have experienced that men have shown them, and this where a lot of men go wrong by valuing, because a lot of men, like that example you gave, Archie, with you best believe them women have been on dates where the men just paid for everything, and so they come to expect that, because you got all these beta males out here doing these things. Just and don't get me wrong, going on a date with a woman and being in a relationship with a woman is two different areas. So when you go on a date with a woman and you just getting to learn her and she's getting to learn you, and y'all, it's the beginning stages of possibly going further, whatever. But in the dating phase of the relationship, they have put, like Manuel was saying, they have this value. I don't think it's a value that they put on themselves. In my opinion, I think it's a value that these beta males put on these women, so they've become to expect it from every man that they deal with.
I agree. Anybody else got anything to chime in on that? All right, so we'll keep it pushing to the next. You got something?
No, I was just gonna say,
Go ahead, Darren.
like in the Latin community, I would say that is very much the case. Like I'm sure, I don't know if the women you met down in Miami were Latin, but they probably were. They were Latinas. I don't know. I feel like I've been in that situation as well, where I went to Dolphin Mall, right? I was taking out a girl. We were gonna go, I guess, some lingerie shopping or something. I forgot what we were doing, And then we went to like some mojito bar right in front. She invited 2 of her girlfriends. I never met them before. And at the end of it, she was like expecting me to pay. And I'm like, God damn. Like, I'll pay for you. How come I got to pay for them?
Yeah.
That's fucked up. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, but it's again, like you're saying, you're enabling that, you know? So I was like, you know what? I'm just paying for your shit. If you want to pay for your girls, then you do it. But either that, you're going to make me look like an asshole, or you're going to look like a fool for inviting them. I didn't invite them.
Mm-hmm.
It's either you tolerate it or you don't, you know? You have to enable them.
Right. There's a quote, and then we'll move on. There's a quote that goes like this. It says, a woman who expects nothing deserves everything. And that statement is so true. A woman can get more out of me without having any expectations. And I'm talking about when you just getting ready to know each other, when you're trying to get to learn each other. A woman that has no expectations deserves everything. And I will spoil a woman more if we go to a mall and she doesn't ask me to buy her anything. She's just happy being with me. We're walking around, we're doing what we do, and she doesn't ask for anything. We go to the next location. She doesn't ask for anything. A woman like that will get more out of me than a woman trying to use you and squeeze you as much as they can before they go on to the next one.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of women out there that,
right,
that
so,
try to use men.
It's true, but
do you feel like there's any age? You think there's an age between here? Is it like the 20-somethings, the 30-somethings, the 40-somethings? Is there any discrepancies between them all? Or you feel like they're all kind of in that same mindset?
I think they're the same mindset.
I think it's more prevalent with the younger women. However, the older women have these same expectations because the older you get, and see, here's where women make their mistake at. They'll spend their prime years not wanting to settle down for whatever the reason is. They'll spend their prime years not wanting to settle down. And then when they get older, they expect the same responses that they were getting when they were younger. They expect men to do the same things when they're younger. And then once they get older, they begin to rush to now go ahead and settle down because they know their time is limited and their dating pool shrinks the older that they get. And especially if they're not taking care of themselves, that dating pool begins to shrink. And now the dash to try to get married is on. And that's when a lot of the pressure gets put on the men. All right, so we're gonna keep it pushing. The next topic I want to jump into is I guess I can say interracial dating. And I'm going to deep dive in this topic on my next session that I have when I'm going to have some women on. But my question to the panel is, why do African-American women get so upset when they see a Black man dating a white woman in public or with a Latin group? And I'll expound on that. I went out in Miami. It was me. I was dating a Latin young lady at the time, or not dating. I was going out with her. And I was with 2 other Black men who was with Latin women as well. So we walk into this establishment and it's a bunch of African-American girls. And these girls actually approached me. They actually approached me with the young lady a couple steps beside me. Was like, why are you all out here with her? You know, got an attitude. So the girl walked over like, excuse me, it was a problem. And they was generally upset. And it seems like to me, based on conversing with them, is that there's a small, limited amount of good Black African-American men, and they feel like these other races are taking these men away. And what they don't know is these other races aren't taking the men away. It's that the African-American women aren't doing what they're supposed to do to hang on to us. So we are exploring our options. So I'll toss that over to you, Dave, for you to jump in on that topic.
You know what I'll say, Arch? I would say the reason Black women get so offended is because out of all the races, and this is giving props. You know, sometimes I try to keep it real when it comes to the black women, and this is one thing I'll say about black women. Black women generally want to date black men. They don't want to date outside the race, so they looking for black men to date. And so, like you said, like the pool, they feel that the pool is which is just a perception. They feel that the pool of black men is short, and they don't like to see black men out with their, you know, with other races. But I would say this, that part of that's part of it, that they feel that way. The other part of it is that black women are committed to being with, if they had a choice, if you had any black woman, if they had a choice, would they want to be with any other race, or would they want to be with a black man? And I would say most black women want to be with a black man. I don't care how fine another race man is, they want to be with a black man. That's what they want. And when they had that perception in their mind that the pool is limited, and they see black men out with other races, it kind of feel like, hey, we feel like we committed to the black man, so we want the black man to feel the same level of commitment that we feel, right? And I would say that, you know, partially that black women are, you know, have demonstrated they're a little more difficult to deal with, but you know, it's kind of, I don't want to be bashing the black women because I love black women, you know what I'm saying? But black women do have a lot of areas that they need to work in. And for men, you know, a lot of times we trying to get our grind on, we trying to work. We don't want to try to get with a woman that has to build, you know, has to work on herself. We want to get with a already made. It's kind of like when you go grocery shopping, right? You know, you want to buy the food that takes less time to prepare, that's already made. You know what I'm saying? That you can just jump right into. So when you go for a black man to pick a woman, it's not necessarily we trying to pick, oh, we want to pick this woman, we hate. It's not that we don't like black women. We just going what's natural, that we want to go to an already made situation where a woman is treating us the way we want to be treated, and she's acting the way that we want her to act. You know, and I understand why black women don't act the way they act and don't treat men like they're supposed to. But for men generally, we want a woman that is going to treat us the way we want to be treated, right? We don't want to go to a woman that's we got to train her and show her how we want to be treated. We just want to go to a woman that we expect her to, you know, know how we want to be treated. So, you know, in that aspect, you know, we feel that we want women that that's already acting the way we want and already treating us the way we want to be treated.
Yeah, and, you know, I need to say this before I start getting a lot of backlash. You know, I love African American women too. You know, I've dated black women, you know, most of my life, but I stopped being treated the way that I should be treated with as much as I was doing, and it began to wear on me. And the women that I was meeting just wasn't stepping up to the plate, you know. And you know, one woman told me one time, you know, I expect 100%. I was like, you get 100% out of no man, and I will get 100% out of no woman. The most you're gonna get is 80% out of one person. You're not gonna get the full 100 because everybody has flaws. If you get a full 100% out of somebody, you're dating God, because He's the only one that's perfect. So sometimes women go into it, and men can do it too, that you go into that situation expecting too much. When if a person is giving you 80%, you're doing pretty good. Because I got friends right now that call me that The man ain't helping to take care of his kids. He don't take his kids nowhere. He's not paying half of the bills. He's not doing all this stuff, and they're putting
Right.
up with it. And for me to do the exact opposite, and then can't get what I want, I started exploring all my other options at that opportunity. So I love Black
Right.
women.
Right.
It's just that now I'm exploring other opportunities because I was exclusively dating Black women for majority of my life. Now I'm at a phase where I'm just exploring other options. And in a couple of other videos I posted on my social media pages, I told Black women, if you feel like you're not getting the good quality of a Black man that you want, you need to open your mind up and also look at outside your race. And to piggyback on what you're saying, yes, Black women prefer to be with a Black man. But if you're not getting treated well by that Black man, you need to expand your horizon and introduce other races into the process. Darwin, you got anything on that? I know
Well,
you're clearly a Latino man, but maybe
no,
you've had experiences dating.
I dated a Black girl before, like 2 times. I don't have much to say. I mean, I was younger. I was in my 20s, so it was very, very different that time. Obviously, my mindset, expectations are different. I wasn't even making money back then, so it was totally different. But what I did see that was different is the attention, like you said. I felt like I was getting challenged a lot more. I was getting pushed to be better, so that was good because she was kind of like, be a man, do this, do this. But at the same time, if it wasn't done in her way, then I was flawed. So it was very odd. I hadn't had that type of friction in a relationship, but it was kind of like that. You know, she was empowered, and being, you know, she's like Black pride, and I met the whole family and everything, and they were like, "How come you with a Latin man? It's so weird," you know. And my mom was like the same thing. She's like, "What are you doing?" So I was like, "Hey, I just look at who you are at the core. I'm not really worried about what you are on the outside. It's just who are you on the inside." And yeah, I don't know what to say about that as far as dating outside. You know what I mean? From a Black woman's perspective, I just know that what my interaction was at that time. I haven't done it as, you know, in my 30s or 40s.
Did you get any type of negative attention from African American men when you walked in rooms with a Black woman?
I think that maybe the woman got like some attention from the guy, like saying, "What are you doing with him?" type of thing. It was, and even Latin women to me saying, "What are you doing with him?"
Yeah. And see, and that's the thing. Like, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother most men to see a Black woman out dating a white guy or a Black woman dating a. We just don't really care. I mean, it's not. We don't really care about it as much as African American women care.
Yeah.
It don't bother us. Manuel, you got anything on this topic, brother? Let me unmute you.
You there? You hear me?
All right, Manuel. Yeah.
Not really. I just know that there is an issue as far as a lot of African American women out there that just has a negative look when they see a Black man, African American man, dating someone outside their race. I mean, they would just get the side eye. But, you know, just like what Dave said earlier, you know, if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, I mean, of course, you know, we're going to move out to go somewhere else because, I mean, we don't have to put up with all this drama. You know, we're not looking for that there. So.
But, you know, Arch, this one time I dated this Hispanic girl. And unless you hear her speak, you would thought she was a white female. And I kind of had, when we were going out, like we would go out to get something to eat or go out for some drinks or something, I kind of felt like everybody was looking at me like thinking that, you know, I'm with a white woman, even though she was a Hispanic woman. But you wouldn't know that unless you hear her talk. But I kind of had, I guess it was my own insecurities that I felt like everybody, the black women looking at me like, oh, what's he doing with her? What's he doing with her? But it's real though. I mean, it is real. What you're saying is real. That it's that you get that side eye when you do go out, and I didn't experience the side eye, but I was aware of it and I was looking for it, and I was like, oh, what they gonna think? They see me out with her.
So, Dave, what do you think? Is it worse if a black woman sees you with a white woman or with a Latin woman?
I think it's worse with a white woman. If they see me with a Latin woman, it's like it's all good. But I think it's worse if they think it's a white woman. In my opinion,
Why would it be worse? It's still outside the race.
It's still outside the race. It's like levels to it, right? So
You got levels.
it's bad on each level, but I think with the white woman, it's like it's a higher level with a white woman than it is with a Hispanic woman.
Okay.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, and I could be wrong, but I think it's more historical when you insert a white woman into it because of slavery, because of the white dominance, and I think it's like the all-time blow if you leave your woman to go with the white woman. It's like the all-time kick in the gut for African American
Waiting
females.
to excel.
So
wait to excel. He left his wife for a white woman.
Yeah.
So we got about 4 minutes before approaching the hour. So I'm gonna end things off with this here, and I'll start it off. What do men really need and want from a woman? And I'll start it off so you can kind of gather your thoughts and from your own perspective. I want you to give it from your own perspective of what you need from a woman. And so I'll start it off. What I need from a woman is peace. When a man comes home after experiencing everything he has experienced outside his house, he comes home. He don't want no nagging. He doesn't want any of all this stuff. He wants peace. He doesn't want drama. He don't want to be arguing all the time about silly stuff. And when we have a conversation with you, we want to talk. We don't want to yell. We don't want to argue. We want to, men, we like to get in and get out. So if we having a conversation, let's identify the problem, let's discuss it, and let's move to a resolution phase. And that's how most men are. That's how I am. I don't want to keep talking about the thing for 2 hours, going in circles, and then we're not getting anywhere. So I would say that for me, I need peace, I need tranquility, and numero uno, I need support from a woman. Meaning, if I'm riding with you, if I'm paying your bills, if I'm helping to raise your kids, if I'm supporting you emotionally, financially, physically when you're sick, and let's say, because every man stumbles and falls. I don't care how much money you have. We stumble and fall in different ways. And it's like a woman will ride that wave with you when you're riding high, but once you drop down, I won't say all women are like that, but a lot of women won't be with you when you drop down. Or if she does drop down with you, she's gonna kind of see how long you stay down there, and she's gonna be moving on. She most definitely will be having her ears, because you can best believe a lot of men are in these women's DMs. They're in these women's DMs, and they're trying to get with your woman, especially if she looks halfway decent. And so, whereas before she may not have been paying attention, but a woman tends to keep her options open if things aren't going the way that she needs them to go. And so, for a man, having that man's back means everything, especially if that man has pulled you up by your bootstraps and helped you out and rolled with you. We need a woman to have our back and be our ride or die.
It's survival
instinct.
instinct.
It's not. Yes, but
If you're on the
it's
boat
like
and the boat sinking, you gonna stay on that boat?
You go jump,
I'm gonna stay on that.
jump
No,
ship.
no,
Like,
no,
that's
no.
the captain.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. That's why athletes, when women look at these athletes, they got all this money, and they was like, "Why is he with the ugly woman?" It's because most of the time, that's that woman that was with him before he had money. So that athlete knows that that woman is going to ride with him when he has nothing or if he has everything because she's already shown it. And so,
She's proving her loyalty. Yeah.
no, if I'm with a woman, yeah, if I'm with a woman and she has had my back through thick and thin, if that boat's sinking, baby, we going down on that mug together. I ain't jumping off. We going down together, and 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 that's what I need. I need a woman who has my back no matter what, because that's what it's supposed to be about. Then why be in a relationship if things go bad? That other person's going to leave, and they're going to leave. What's the point of being with them? And so also what I need from a woman, with the loyalty, great conversation, an active sex life, because in the beginning, and this is the married man joke when I was married. In the beginning, the woman will sex you night and day, 2 times a week, on top of the stove. But then once that relationship gets some age on it, or if you commit to it in a relationship or a
Once they
marriage,
got you,
most men get it once a week. Yeah, once or twice a week. Like, what in the world just happened here? What in the world just happened? And so, I don't. I'm not a believer in stepping out. And so, when women ask me, "Why are you still single?" There's something wrong with you? No, there's nothing wrong with me. It's just that if I can't commit to you 100% mentally, emotionally, and physically, then I'd rather not put myself into a situation to hurt you. I'd rather remain single, do what I do until I'm at a point where a woman shows me, steps into my life and shows me who she is that I can commit to. Until that happens, I'd rather remain single. That way I ain't got to worry about hurting nobody or doing any of that. But I just think women need to understand truly what men need and desire from them. So I'll toss it over to you, Manuel, first. What needs do you need in a woman so that women can begin to understand? Because a lot of women don't understand what a man needs. They just think giving them sex is enough. I tell women all the time, women think that they're the prize because of their anatomy, but the person who is really the prize is the person who has the most to offer. And in the situations with me, I always have the most to offer. I just can't meet a woman who has her stuff together. I have never met a woman who can pay her own bills and don't need me financially. I haven't came across that yet. I got friends that met attorneys, doctors, don't need a man's money for anything. I'm either swimming in the wrong pool or what, because I don't meet them type of women. I'm always carrying a woman. And so, tell me what you need from a woman.
Well, my man Kevin said it best, FBI, but FBI with the S. You know, you want your woman for the F to be feminine. Who wants a woman out here that's going to be the alpha? You know, you want someone that's going to be feminine. I mean, that's her role, to be feminine. And then again, with the B, you want your woman to be beautiful. Not to the point where that, she's going around here looking like Bozo the Clown packing on all this makeup, but you want her to be feminine and beautiful. And also, you need a woman to be inspirational. It's like if you got anything going on, like what you said, Archie, you want someone that's going to have your back. I mean, from the beginning to the end, you need someone that's going to have your back to inspire you to be your better self. And also, like what we talked earlier, a woman to be submissive, because after a hard day at work, you don't want to come home to all this drama and all this negativity or someone that's yelling. You want peace. And if you can't have those, then of course, you're gonna have problems. The relationship is gonna break down. And that's my thought on it.
you got the mute on, Archie. There you go.
My bad. All right, Darwin, we'll toss it over to you, and then Dave, we'll end it off with you and let you bring us home.
Yeah, well, I'll just keep it short. I mean, you guys hit the, you hit it right on the mark. You hit it the bullseye. I mean, obviously, you want no drama. You want peace. You want that beauty. You want to have inner beauty, I think. I mean, you want a confident woman, but you also want one that has your back and that's going to grind it out with you. I want my woman to be my muse. I want to be inspired. I want her to make me want to be a better person. Like she's going to be motivating me. I also want a woman that loves my kids, right? I've had situations where, for my past relationship, I have children and they don't want to be a part of that. They only want me on this Saturday, not that Saturday. I want one that wants to be with me every weekend when I have my kids and when I don't, And yeah, you just want to be at peace. You want no drama. And if you can find somebody that can contribute to the bottom line, that's even better. But and if they can't do that, then hopefully they can cook a warm meal for you,
Yeah, I've never had that, brother. in a committed relationship, now, I've never had a woman that enjoyed cooking. All right, Dave, go you, brother.
My thing, you hit it all the points for me, Arch. You hit it all. The number one for me though is peace, and that's the one you started out with. Peace is number one for me. And I've been in some relationship, and my end game is strong. When I enter a relationship, it's a wrap, right? But my thing is, a lot of times when you in a relationship, women think it's because, you leave him because it's another woman, you leave him because of this. The man, if you think about it, a man does not want to leave his castle. If he's the king, he wants to be at his home. He don't want to leave his home for nothing. But if he's not getting peace at his home, and it could be for a number of reasons why a woman is not giving the man peace. But I will tell women this: if you want to keep your man, if you want to keep him, the number one thing is peace. I know he may not always do things right. He may fuck up from time to time, and he might not be the perfect man or whatever. But if you want to keep him, step your game up and make it peaceful. Because all the drama, yelling, screaming, through all the threats and stuff is not going to keep your man. You want to, a man is only, and I don't care how fine the woman is. I don't care, what she does. If she's not bringing peace into the house, for me personally, it's I don't want to be there. I don't care how nice the house is.
I'm going to answer this phone call, so I got to go. Okay.
All right.
All right, peace.
Peace. And for me, she could be doing everything, but if I'm not, I remember when we used to work overseas and we would come home and everything about this girl, I loved everything about her, but she would just bring the drama and I just couldn't take it. I just didn't want to be with her just because of the drama. I just didn't have the peace. And I would tell her, I said, look, I'm overseas and I'm doing this. When I come home, I just want peace. And she just couldn't fathom that in her brain. And she was everything else I wanted in a woman. I mean, she was fine. She treated me well. The sex was good. I mean, everything was good that you would want from her. You go down the checklist, it was there. But for me personally, just the drama and the peace and the arguments and it just pushed me out the door. I didn't want to be there. And so for me, number one, everything else is secondary, but peace for me is number one. And if you want to just throw something else in the hat, you know how they say, and I'm not comparing women to dogs, but you know how you come home and your dog is happy to see you, and as soon as you open the door, the dog run up to you and wagging the tail. That's how I want. When I come home, I want the work. I don't want her to be just chilling on the sofa and just like, hey,
you here?
Yeah, hey, you here? Hey, meet me at the door. Be like, hey, have a drink ready for me. Hey, baby, I missed you. Kind of, the same. I love that, and I think that most men would love that. When you come home, it's like it giving you something to look forward to when you come home, and those are the top things for me. And everything, I do want other stuff, but those two are the top things for me.
That's straight, man. I never had that, man. I get that if I go away and I come back from a trip, but not every day.
Not every day. I would love that every day. I would love that.
Hopefully this channel, man, is going to inspire not just only the women to learn, but also for us brothers to learn from each other. Because at the end of the day, we need to have a better understanding between one another. And I can tell you what has helped me out a whole lot. That and I'm not a big guy that's all in it, astrology, but when you meet a woman, ask her what her horoscope sign is. And then when she tells you what her horoscope sign is, you go look it up and look at all the characteristics, because when I look at my horoscope, it's pretty spot on. Mm-hmm. So, ask a woman for a horoscope and
man, I used to do that too back in the day. I'm like, oh man, I'm a Taurus, and I'm like, let's see which ones match up with me, because I felt like Taurus is me too. But I don't know if it's because you read it all the time and you're like, okay, this is how I'm supposed to act subconsciously. Now you're like, this is me. I'm a Taurus. Now it describes me. Now it defines me. I don't know.
Sometimes they do be spot on, though. They do.
100%, man. 100%.
I guess next time I got to increase my bandwidth for this Wi-Fi here, so I start falling off. But yeah, man, I just want women to have a better understanding of what men need, because a lot don't. And looking at various different other channels, when women are asked that question, what do a man need? And most women response is, sex, feeding him, and they really can't get past more than 4 things that a man truly and really needs from them. So hopefully this channel here will help
Hey, lost him.
Yeah, you gotta get his Wi-Fi checked.
Yeah. And for me, it's more so what I want, more so than what I need. It's what I want from a woman, and I try not to need too much from them. But it's certain things that if they give me, like, I want to be home. My home is my castle. I've invested a lot in my home, and if a woman, if you living with a woman, you married to a woman, y'all in a long-term relationship, whatever circumstance is, and she does certain things to make you want to come home, I mean, it's just a plus. Like you're the king of your castle. Who doesn't want to come home to their castle? You don't put a big investment in. Who doesn't want to come home to